Hello everyone, welcome back to my MG channel. This is a quick video on the IVIG process, which is to do with blood plasma. And I should explain, this is part one of the video, and part two is me actually having it done, but I didn't want to sit and record and do all kinds of silly things in hospitals. So this is, as I said, part one, and you'll see part two in due course if you want to watch it. So what is IVIG? IVIG is something, again, actually before I say that, I should say I'm not medically trained, qualified, not a medical person, I'm not a doctor, lawyer, whatever. This is my understanding, and it's not necessarily something that you should use as a medical explanation. Always seek qualified medical advice. That's the disclaimer there. But anyway, if you trust what I say, or you think I might be on the right tracks, and I don't even know if I'm on the right tracks, so do tell me if I am on the wrong tracks. But essentially what IVIG is it's something that is given to MG patients or Myasthenia Gravis patients who are in some kind of crisis. And there are obviously a number of reasons for crises. In my case of my crisis, it's because I had the flu and I have asthma and I had a bunch of other stuff. But one way or the other, there'll be there might be a point in which the pyristigmine and steroids and some of the other drugs that you might be on daily just don't quite cut the mustard, and you need something stronger. And the IVIG is something that is the solution to that. In terms of what IVIG is, my understanding is that it is a blood plasma therapy. So the very kind people who go out there and donate their blood, which people do on a monthly basis, that blood is taken to a laboratory. It is, I think it's separated, so the actual liquid you'll see in the video, but the actual liquid is clear. So it's not red, it's clear. So as I understand it, whatever these very clever people do in the laboratory, they're separating out the plasma from the blood. That goes, or I presume it gets cleaned and lots of other things first. It goes into a bottle. That bottle then hooks on a stand. It goes through a pump, out of the pump into a tube, and then it goes into basically a tap in your hand, which I think is called a cannula. So that's how it works. Scientifically, again, not a scientist either, as well as a doctor or a lawyer or anything like that, but as I understand it, what's happening is the blood plasma is being pushed into your system, and that blood plasma is there to either fight or replace the bad blood plasma that's in your body, which has got this AChR thing, which I explain in the What Causes MG video. And that AChR thing is the thing which is on the end of the motor neuron attached to the fibre, and it's the chemical reaction that's basically not doing its job properly. So my understanding is the blood plasma therapy is there to kind of, I'm not sure if it replaces or overrides or whatever it does, but it's there to basically have a fight inside your body and try and override or take over and put good blood plasma to make those AChR things start working again properly. So that's the theory behind it. I'm sure the theory is a lot more scientific than I've explained, but that's, I think, in layman's terms, which is what I'm capable of explaining how it works. In terms of practical terms, I'm not sure the usual course of it. I think the standard course is 5 days, but some people may have it longer or shorter, I'm not sure. But in my case, I had it for 5 days. I was already in hospital, so they put me onto it. I had it over the course of 5 evenings, and the day after, or the morning of the day after, I then, well, it wasn't actually the morning, it was the afternoon, but never mind, but I was discharged from hospital the day after that I had the IVIG therapy, but that possibly was because I had it in the evening rather than the morning, but that's pretty much that. So the last 5 days, there might be longer ones, they might do 7 or 10, I'm not sure, but in my case it was 5 days. And the effects of it, as far as I understand, are not immediate. So what I mean by that is that the effects of that come into play, I think, depending who you ask, and neurologists seem to have different opinions on this, but it's either 5 or 10 days after your final treatment. So if your last treatment was on a Monday, you probably won't expect to see the results of that begin until either the Saturday or the Friday. Or if you speak to other neurologists, it would be 10 days after that. And it really depends. And I think they say that about 2 weeks after the 5 or 10 days, depending which you listen to, will then be the actual peak of that treatment, and that will put you in the best place that you can get to with the blood plasma. But obviously at the same time I'm still taking the steroids and the pyristigmine and all the rest of it. The blood plasma was just a boost because I got myself into a crisis, as they call it. So in terms of that, the experience, as I said, the experience was, well, it's not nice, any of these kind of experiences, but certainly it wasn't painful or didn't have any problems or anything like that. It was pretty straightforward. Side effects, again, because you're putting effectively someone else's blood plasma in your system, hospitals are understandably very cautious about that. So lots of tests done at the beginning. But as my body was starting to kind of deal with it and cope with it, they didn't really have any, there weren't any problems that were found. But of course hospitals are going to monitor that sort of thing very carefully to make sure that you don't end up in a situation like you might. So yeah, no, for me there were no side effects. I'm not quite sure. I think they say headaches and a few other things can be side effects, and I'm sure again a qualified person can explain that better. But for me it's a very straightforward process. In it went. In the evenings, as I said, I sort of lay or sat or read or whatever I did for a couple of hours, went on for, and then that was it. Out it came, and that was pretty much job done. So no side effects, for me at least. Painless, no problem at all. It was very straightforward indeed. So I think that's all I can tell you about IVIG, and I suppose I should say a big thank you to the people who do go out and donate blood and or blood plasma or both, because obviously what you're doing is absolutely invaluable for people with my condition and other similar conditions, of course. So thank you. I suppose the final point is, if I have explained all of that terribly and you are a neurologist, doctor, consultant shouting at your YouTube channel or my YouTube channel saying this guy's an idiot, he's got it all wrong, he's explained it terribly, he doesn't know what he's talking about, which is inevitable, please do drop me a message if you'd like, and I'm happy to re-record this video and explain it maybe in some different or better terms that you could give me. But other than that, thank you very much for watching.